Welcome to Incredible Idaho. I'm Roland Barris, standing in tonight as guest host for Wayne Walker. We begin our show tonight with a scene out of history. A herd of powerful bison on the run, heads bent and hooves flying, provoked to stampede by men on horseback. But this is no Wild West show. The horsemen are National Park Service employees, and the bison are animals that have wandered outside the boundaries of Yellowstone National Park and into an area where they are not welcome.
Sort of control chaos. Right.
Okay.
I'm there to kind of give the horses some shelter if they need it, and then also be a little bit more aggressive than the horses so that the vehicles...
The idea is to herd the bison into a narrow opening that funnels the animals into a smaller pasture. From there, they'll be pushed into a wooden corral for processing. The shaggy beasts have been grazing in this bigger pasture since they were captured roaming outside the boundaries of the park.
They're going.
The horsemen whoop and holler, chasing the bison from behind. Flanking the herd are the two vehicles, horns honking and tires spinning in the mud as they try to keep the buffalo headed towards the gate. But at the last minute, the herd turns, forcing the horsemen to retreat and begin again.
Come on, Cobra, get in there.
The second attempt fails also. It's quite clear these are wild animals unaccustomed to being harassed by man. They are large and aggressive, members of one of the only free-ranging bison herds remaining in the world. That is, if they stay inside the park. Outside the park, their freedom is curtailed, for it is feared the bison could pass on a cattle disease called brucellosis to domestic livestock, threatening the brucellosis-free status of the beef industry in neighboring states. This year has been especially difficult. More than 1,000 buffalo have left the park in search of better winter range, and every one of those animals was either shot outright or captured and sent to slaughter in compliance with state law. A different fate awaits the animals being rounded up here today.
Hey, Dan!
Don't push him yet. We gotta get the gate closed. We'll lose him back.
It's an easier operation in the confines of the smaller pasture.
Let's go get him, Crowbar.
The buffalo have little room for escape and are funneled relatively smoothly through the gate and into a corral.
Good job, guys. Yeah, there's times where it gets a little hairy in there. The horse is smart enough to get out of the way. You just got to be smart enough not to hold him in a place where he shouldn't be.
Okay, you ready down there?
The bison are separated into smaller groups by a series of gates. The first one is released and charges down the narrow passage into a squeeze chute designed for processing cattle. These animals have all been tested once before and come up negative for brucellosis, a disease that causes livestock and some wildlife to abort their fetuses. Today, they'll be tested again.
Cow? Cow. Okay, we got a Prager, ear tags, and we'll start out with the white, 2 cc's.
Wildlife veterinarian Dave Hunter is looking for 36 pregnant female bison to be used in an experimental project testing the safety of a vaccine for brucellosis.
Oh, cow, move, move, hey. We're going to give these animals 3 different doses of a vaccine. One will be a placebo, and then 2 concentrations of this RB51. And we'll just randomly pick as they come through, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And so at the end of the day, hopefully is what we'll have. There's 12 animals vaccinated with a high dose, 12 with a medium dose, and then 12 with a placebo. And then we're going to see how the vaccine affects them and affects their calves and whether it causes abortion. So.
All right, give her a squeeze.
It's not an easy process. The first step is to test for pregnancy. Wildlife veterinarian Tom Roth has the somewhat precarious job of reaching into the animal's birth canal while she's kicking and bucking.
Must have come through. This one's pregnant.
Once it's been determined that she is pregnant, the next step is to draw a vial of blood. Also not an easy task.
A little bit more. Just an inch or two would be enough.
Although each of these animals has tested negative for brucellosis, the blood will be used to run a second test as a precautionary measure.
This is field laboratory medicine, I guess.
Inside the truck is the lab, a centrifuge and test kit where the delicate analysis of blood serum takes place. In the course of the day, 4 of the pregnant cows will test positive and be eliminated from the project.
Pregnant?
A stringent eradication program by the federal government will eliminate brucellosis in domestic livestock by 1998. At that point, it is believed the greater Yellowstone ecosystem will remain the only area in the United States where the disease is still prevalent, mainly in the wild elk and bison. But by the year 2010, a plan will be in place for eradication of the disease in that area's wildlife. And this safety study on the vaccine RB51 is one of the first small steps toward that goal.
I sure like that little hippity hop when they come out. That's so cute. Antelope in Africa do that. They call it bronking.
The vaccine study will be conducted at the Wildlife Health Lab in Caldwell, Idaho. So the question arises, how do you move about 14 tons of wild bison 900 miles away? When we come back, busing bison. It's obvious that the bison can move themselves quite well. More than 1,000 of these animals have traveled outside the boundaries of Yellowstone Park this winter. As a result, controversy has risen over groomed snowmobile trails that make the route easier for the heavy beasts to travel. But the real question is, why are they leaving the park? Winter came early to Yellowstone this year. The aspen had just reached the peak of their golden beauty on the 1st of October. In just over a week, the scene would be covered in a soft layer of white. A Christmas thaw, followed by plunging temperatures, created a thick layer of ice, making it difficult for bison to graze the grasses below. Then more snow, layer upon layer, estimated at about 200% of normal. Yellowstone is home to about 3,500 bison. But after this winter, that number will be drastically reduced. Hundreds have died inside the park, victims of severe weather, and more than 1,000 that left in search of food have been destroyed. Some question whether the burgeoning bison herds may have outgrown the habitat. Others ask whether the rugged terrain of Yellowstone National Park can truly be considered good winter range for wildlife. Perhaps seasonal migrations were not unusual before the threat of brucellosis. But whatever the reason, as long as some of the big beasts potentially carry the disease, the only moves they will make outside Yellowstone National Park will be to research facilities like the Wildlife Health Lab in Caldwell, Idaho.
Is that a clean one? 60-26.
Clean, both of them.
Loading the wild bison onto a cattle truck will not be easy, but nothing's been easy about the whole project.
Loading 1 or 2 at a time ain't gonna work. What works best is if we come like 15 head all at once, they go nose to tail, right to the top.
Eradication of brucellosis in the greater Yellowstone ecosystem is a tall order. Not all the bison carry the disease. And although there's never been a documented case of Yellowstone bison transmitting the disease to domestic animals, potential does exist. This safety study is just the first step. Is the vaccine safe for bison? Then the question must be answered, is it effective? What about predators such as golden eagles or wolves that might feed on a bison carcass? If the dead bison was vaccinated, will it affect the predator?
One of the things that is really important is that we get going somewhere to show that we're really trying to work toward the alleviation of the problem.
Okay, here they come, here they come.
17 bison will ride in the upper deck, and 18 more will be loaded below. Wildlife veterinarian Dave Hunter fears the close quarters of the truck will trigger a bit of aggressive behavior in some of the more dominant cows. But little can be done about it now. Better to worry about whether the heavily loaded truck can power through the thick, muddy road leading out of the corral area. Because a huge winter storm is crowding the horizon, and if the truck doesn't leave immediately, it may never get out. The truck is mired in mud, spinning helplessly. But with a little help, it's freed. Just as the storm clouds close in on Gardner, Montana, 14 tons of bison pull out of the park. It's to be a short journey. Not more than 20 miles down the road, the storm hits. It's a Montana blizzard, and all travel stops. The next morning, the big truck is on the road before dawn after an anxious night spent monitoring the animals. It passes through the beautiful scenery of Big Sky country, traveling south and west 900 miles to deliver its strange cargo to Idaho. Pens have been specially built at the Wildlife Health Lab in Caldwell to comfortably house the pregnant buffalo. It's a nervous moment for Dave Hunter as the truck is positioned for unloading. Any handling of wildlife can cause enormous stress to the animal. Factor in the delay caused by the blizzard, and there's the potential that some of the bison may have succumbed to the pressure. The door is open, but the buffalo hesitate nervously. With a little encouragement, they proceed down the ramp, crowding past each other and then trotting quickly through the corridors into the large pens.
They're in better shape when we put them on.
Oh, man. 17? Oh, okay. Hey, they do look okay. They didn't get beat up too bad. Look at those. A lot of those horn things fell off, but sure kept them from gouging each other.
All the heartburn you had.
All right. All right. All right.
Heads up, everybody.
18 more trot out of the truck into the adjacent pen. All 35 bison have survived the journey and appear to be healthy. A few begin to graze. The animals will be closely monitored. In a few weeks, they should be giving birth, one of the first tests for the new vaccine.
17 and 18. They like that dust. Look at them wallowing in that dust.
Oh, man, I just can't believe it. I can't believe it.
They don't look bad.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my.
I bet you thought bears were really scary, huh? Well, would you believe they're shy? They eat bugs and berries, not kids.
Hey, did you see that strange fellow talking about bears before the commercials? Well, that's Critter Man, and he's got a wonderful story to tell you kids about two little bear cubs. But first, we may have to wake him up.
Oh, it's only you, George. Oops, you scared me. Oh, looks like I kind of took a nap, huh? You know, if I was a bear like George, I would have taken a nap for maybe 5 months. It's called hibernate. You slow way down, you don't eat at all. I know it sounds kind of easy to be hibernating, sleeping all the time, but these guys, the females especially, gotta give birth to little babies. Baby bears are tiny when they're born, about a pound, maybe that big, and they nurse them all winter long while they're sleeping, and for 5 months, bears don't get up, get out of their den to go potty. Long time. Well, I bet you wonder how we know all this stuff about what bears do when they hibernate. We had to help a couple of them out one time. A couple of cubs had to teach them how to hibernate. Shenandoah and Shoshone had lost their mom. Some hikers found them all alone in the woods and took them to people who fix up injured critters. When it came time for their winter nap, scientists had to help them out.
We're gonna take the cage inside and see if we can get the two friendlier ones to load.
Those scientists are pretty tricky. I bet you they use food to get Shoshone to go in the cage. Food almost always works.
They want to come real bad.
Come on, Shoshone, it's okay.
Told ya. Now they're gonna take Shoshone and Shenandoah from their human home and put them back in the wild where they belong.
Okay, that'll hold them in.
See, scientists know, well, at least they guess, that if they put the cubs in a den in the woods for their winter nap, a long winter nap, they'll forget. And when they wake up, they'll never remember living with people. The cubs are already tired because they haven't eaten much for a few days. And not having food after all that food all summer long makes them want to sleep. But that scientist, John Beecham, he gives them a shot that'll really make them sleepy.
This dosage for this size bear ought to put them down for an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Shenandoah falls asleep. That guy, John Beecham, puts a tag on her ear, partly to make her look like a punker bear, and partly so that if she ever runs into people again, scientists will know she got through the winter okay.
In fact, last summer we caught one that we'd released last year, a little female. In fact, we caught her probably less than a half a mile from the den we put her in.
Goodbye, Shenandoah.
Scientists load up the brother and sister and carry them down the mountain to their new home. These scientists have to walk a long ways, and Shoshone, the one in the backpack, weighs as much as a big dog. Shoshone is a load.
Almost there.
The scientists found the den for the cubs before it snowed. Shenandoah goes in first. John pushes and pushes and pushes to get her inside the den, and then he gets stuck. Those other scientists have to pull him out.
Okay, one down. I got too much dirt in my eyes.
Now it's Shoshone's turn. When John thinks the cubs are pushed in far enough and comfortable, his pals pull him out of the den again. The scientists make the bears feel safe by covering up the opening to the den with dirt and pine boughs. That way they'll want to stay in their cozy den under the snow and sleep all winter long.
Well, it was great to see Critterman, and he will be back to take you on all sorts of adventures, tracking mountain lions, calling birds, maybe even stalking scorpions at night. Be watching for him in other shows. Thanks for joining us on Incredible Idaho. We'll close tonight's show with a creature feature profiling one of our more regal birds of prey, the bald eagle.
You'll find them along our rivers and lining the shorelines of our lakes. Mysteriously, the eagles know when prey will be plentiful. In early winter, they begin to gather at the mouth of Granite Creek on Lake Pend Oreille in Idaho's Panhandle. The kokanee have begun their run. During the next 2 months, thousands of fish journey to this stream, seeking out the fast-moving waters upstream to lay their eggs. They'll spawn and die, becoming an easy meal for the eagles watching above. Near Boise, bald eagles have found good forage below the turbines of Lucky Peak Dam. Fish, stunned or disoriented by the fast water, are easy targets. A majority of the big birds here are immature or subadult eagles. Their plumage is a mottled brown. They won't acquire the distinctive white head and tail until they reach maturity at 5 to 6 years of age. Most of the mature eagles have already left the area to nest, some just a few miles up the river. But next winter they will return, some standing vigil in the trees, others soaring gracefully high above the earth.